great to have you with us at 25 minutes away from 5 o'clock on eNCA. I'm Gareth Edwards. In a time where unemployment continues to plague our country, surely more can be done to not only avert this, but actually go the other way, try and draw in more investments. And there's been so much talk over the years around South Africa's special economic zones, the SEZs coming into play. They're geographic zones. Here's the background, very briefly. They're geographic zones where regulations for business differ from the rest of the economy. It's all meant to bring in investment and to make it more attractive. But are they actually working? I feel like we've lost the emphasis on this. I'm joined by Ann Bernstein, one of the leading voices when it comes to development enterprise. She is from the Centre for Development and Enterprise, joining us today. Hi, Ann. Good to have you back on eNCA as well. What difference would an SEZ make to unemployment? Can we start there?
Well, let's start with what are these things? They are geographic zones mainly that are different from the rest of the economy. So if the conditions in the rest of the economy are not attracting investment, countries around the world have experimented with zones where they test out new rules, whether it's labor market regulations or allowing foreign investment, as they did in China. So whatever it is. And so that's how you should think about special economic zones. They have to be special compared to the rest of the economy. Now, we've been looking at these for a long time because we're really interested in testing out if South Africa could get low-skill manufacturing going in the country in one of these zones. And the best place to do this is our oldest zone with fantastic infrastructure, Kucha, in the sort of old Port Elizabeth region, which has its own port and is mostly empty. And we're saying let's turn this into a special zone with different rules from the rest of the economy that we hope could attract new investment for exports based on low-skill manufacturing. If we can do this, other countries have shown you can get lots of jobs, and they're jobs for people who are currently unemployed. The vast majority of them would be unemployed, coming into a job and getting all the advantages of ordinary work that unemployed people don't have.
I want to keep Donald Trump out of this conversation as best as I can, but I'm going to just refer very quickly. Because of the Trump tariffs, we have to now as a country and as South Africa have to look at other export markets, maybe Canada, the Middle East, China, etc. I can go on and on and on. You know what they are as well as I do. If you have these SEZs, if we're talking low in a rather labor-intensive, export-driven manufacturing zone. It's the export-driven manufacturing that I'm curious in. Now's the time to capitalize on that, and we find new markets. We flood those export markets. That surely has to be the thinking here.
Absolutely. You're right to focus on export-driven. South Africa's got to become a much more competitive economy for exports. And we're focusing on this one important area where South Africa's below the curve in terms of our production of low-skill manufacturing products, and we think there are real opportunities. And, you know, if the Trump tariffs are going to hold, it's not clear yet if they apply to textiles and low-income toys that you assemble and so on. But there are lots of other countries. There's the whole of Africa we can think about, and there are many other countries in Europe and elsewhere that we could be looking. But we have to be globally competitive. This is a low-margin business. This is a difficult area to break into. And so there are two key components of what we're suggesting. So let's test out a low-skill manufacturing zone. We need not wholesale labor market reform, but we need some changes to our labor market rules in the zone. And lots of countries have done this. They've tested out policies that they couldn't get through the whole economy for political or ideological reasons. They've tested it out in a zone. And if it can work, it then will have dramatic implications, not just for poverty and employment, but for policy change in time. So we need some labour market reforms. We have to maintain health and safety regulations and enforce them. We need to exempt factories from collective bargaining agreements that they weren't party to. And we need factory level bargaining about hours, about productivity, about bonuses, a whole range of things in order to be globally competitive. We're saying these zones should be managed by private entities with an interest in their success and attracting as much investment as possible, because they will then make profits from this. And this is the increasing trend all over the world for successful zones. So a very different approach from the zones we currently have, which are really failing, if you look at the numbers.
Yeah, I was looking at those numbers. You mentioned 25 billion spent, since 2001. I think only 4 of the 12 SEZs are actually in some way functional and productive. On the private sector idea, that seems to be the buzzword at the moment, and private sector. What could be the next step? What's the red tape? Where's the bureaucracy stopping all these ideas you have from happening? What's your next step as I say goodbye?
Well, we know SEZs are important discussion point and focus for policy in the Department of Trade and Industry. And we would hope that people will read our document. We have 2 main proposals for this experimental zone and for the whole SEZ program overall, to give it some dynamism, because we've only created 27,000 jobs overall, 31 billion of new investment, most of which is not new. It's come from the rest of the economy where people relocate their factories. And we're saying, let's make this a foundation stone, a key part of our approach to economic growth, and model the successful zones in other developing countries. There are lots of failures. We're not alone in failing, but there are success stories that we can build on. We need champions. We need champions in the private sector. We need champions in government, national, regional, metropolitan. And we need to promote this zone, if we can agree the rules for it, in Asia, among investors who are looking to diversify out away from China and elsewhere. And South Africans have contacts there. So let's pull in all our contacts and let's see if we could make this a really world-class zone with dramatic implications for the regional growth and employment.
Well, if AGOA might not be our friend, maybe we should start focusing on China and all those countries, because we are part of BRICS. We are part of BRICS. We may as well start benefiting even more from that. Ann, wonderful to talk to you. Thank you very, very much. Ann Bernstein from the Centre for Development and Enterprise. SEZs, is that the way to go? We want to get your views on this. We have to start looking for solutions. The big butterfly in America has flapped his wings, and it's now having an impact on all of us. The big talk from all the experts now is, if not America, what are our other options? This seems like it might be one of those very good options. Ann Bernstein, thank you very much. To the country's courts, and while awaiting his trial, Timothy Omotoso